Super. So welcome back, everybody, to the Babs 46th Harmony College online. And my name is Mike Taylor, and I'm the Babs Harmony College Education Manager. As you know, we're running these sessions twice nightly all this week. So thank you very much for joining once again. By the Thursday, I expect you to be joining in this little introduction because I'll repeat it every time. Just to remind you, could you stay on mute during the sessions and use the chat if you'd like to ask questions, and get to those at the end. A very special guest tonight, I'm thrilled to introduce, is Dr. Jim Henry, who is with us. Jim, for many of you, will need no introduction, as the cliche goes, but it's the musical and artistic co-director of the 5 times BHS International Champion Chorus, the Ambassadors of Harmony. Jim is the bass of my second favorite quartet of all time, Crossroads. And if you
Is your first the Gas House Gang?
yeah, oh come on, that's my joke.
Oh, darn it. Sorry, I blew it.
Yeah, he's also the same bass in my all-time favorite quartet, Gas House
Okay.
Gang. Yeah,
Okay.
but I've just got off.
We can edit that out when you do the recording, right?
Yeah, all right. So Jim's doctoral thesis was on the origins of barbershop harmony, and those of you who were with us last night will recall that orally referenced Jim's work in her excellent presentation. And when Jim and I discussed what he was going to tackle tonight, he suggested what I didn't know when I started as a quartet singer and a director. And I'm kind of thinking that 45 minutes might not be quite enough to tap you dry on what you know now, Jim. But anyway, it's a thrill to have you with us, and thank you for being here, and over to you.
Well, thank you so very much, and I really appreciate how many people are on this call. This is great. The only thing that would be better is if we were in person and singing tags and stuff. This brings back a little bit of PTSD, I have to say, about a few years ago. But I really am honored to have been asked to do this, and I have been sort of racking my brains over the past week about just things that I could talk about because I started singing barbershop when I was 11 years old. And I don't really know life without it. My mom and dad were both barbershop singers from my infancy, so it means a lot to me. And this is a culture that I truly love and feel most at home with. Um, and I started directing the Ambassadors of Harmony. I sang in that chorus all along, but became the main director in 1990, believe it or not. So I've been at this for 34 years. It's hard for me to believe, taking over from David Wright, who I think most of you know, and I think you're going to hear from. And David did a very interesting thing that I don't think happens very much in choruses. He had directed us for 9 years and brought us from last place in our small chorus contest all the way to being international competitors as high as 6th place. And that was just in the span of 9 years. And after those 9 years, I was always his assistant director, as was my brother Rob and Rick Knight, all from the Gas House Gang. And after that 9 years, David said to me at one point, I think that you could do I think you could do better in front of the chorus than I can. And he said, so I'm going to propose that we just switch roles and you be the director and I'll sort of be your right-hand man. And that's exactly what happened, which says a lot about David's character and for me personally about his trust in me, which was definitely an honor for me because he was my idol. So I started doing this just as a 29-year-old kid, and I had to learn a lot of things along the way. And so what I thought I might do is talk to you about being a director and what I've learned along the way, what I had no idea about then. And also with the Gas House Gang and Crossroads. Gas House Gang was a chapter quartet. Had no idea that we would ever we hoped we might go to international someday, but the thought of winning was so beyond our imagination that we didn't even dare think about it. And and yet we did somehow, and these are some of the things that we learned. So I hope it helps you. And if you're interested in this, the document that I'm going to be kind of referring to is in the chat room. It should be available to you if you want to just look at it. I'm going to share my screen so that we can kind of look at it together, which I frankly hate to do because I'm actually loving just seeing faces. So maybe what I'll try to do for a little bit here is just talk to faces and just say things, and that document will be there for you if you want to open it up, and it's downloadable so you can use it that way. But I'm going to start with chorus director, the things that I did not know as a young chorus director, or maybe sort of knew but didn't realize the importance of. And I've divided this into 4 different sections. One is culture, just the culture of the chorus, building culture, singing, musicality, and then the act of rehearsing. And boy, I learned by making every possible mistake in all 4 of these areas. And some of them were quite serious mistakes that I wish I could go back and change. Mistakes in my own insecurities, mistakes in putting certain things in importance above more important things. So let's start with culture. And I feel like I need to talk somewhat fast because there's so much. But let me just go through culture because it's my favorite thing to talk about. First and foremost, what I had to learn that I still, when I go coach choruses, kind of talk to some directors about is how wonderfully and terrifically important it is to love the people more than the music. I think that especially when you're a young director, you've got your sights on becoming excellent, on winning contests, on making the chorus awesome, as we would use, is the term I would have used. And so much so that you do it to the detriment of relationships and the expectations, and you just don't love and respect the people like you should. I think as I got older and as I became a teacher, I just started falling in love with the people. Most of us did that with Barbershop anyway. The music you fell in love with the music, and what you ended up loving the most are the people who you sing with, more even than the music. So that's the first thing that I really had to learn. At the same time, I had to learn um, to surround myself with those people that I love. That directing is not a one-person show. It's really detrimental if it becomes a one-person show. Surround yourself with talent. Now, you might say that's really easy for you to say, Jim, because you have David Wright as a director in your chorus. You have Jonny Moroni and all the vocal spectrum guys and the gas house gang. So there's a lot of talent in that chorus, no question about that. But I will say this, all of that talent was fostered. David fostered the talent in me. He taught me things when he was director and guided me, gave me songs to direct. And I learned by doing, and I learned by having David tell me things that I was doing effectively and things that didn't work. And also, he guided a lot of my knee-jerk decisions about what to do. He always would ground me into something that, that my youthful hubris and inexperience might tell me I should do. And his wisdom and experience told me that's not the best thing to do. And at the same token, we fostered the talent of the Gas House Gang. We fostered the talent of Jonny Moroni, who's now a choral director. You don't even need the most talented people to be there. For example, here's a really great way to use people in your chorus who aren't the most talented musically, who will never be an assistant director or even a section leader or anything. But if you're working on something, let's say on posture, like body alignment, everybody's standing straight and all of that, you can bring somebody out to come and just watch that. If we're really studying vowels, you can bring somebody out who's not nearly your best person. As a matter of fact, it's really good to bring somebody out who's terrible at vowels and bring them out in front and say, every time you hear our vowels not sounding so good, just raise your hand. You don't have to say anything, just raise your hand. When the chorus sees your hand go up, then you can put your hand back down. When you hear it, performed correctly, put your hand down, but don't put your hand down until you really think it sounds great. Well, that gives that person ownership of that one thing, and that bad vowel person becomes one of your best vowel people because they are the sergeant at arms of vowels. Use those people, give people ownership. Directors often think they're the most important person in the room, and the truth is we're all equally important and have different jobs to do. Just as the lead's job is to sing lead, my job is to direct. I can direct maybe better than other people in the chorus, but I can't sing lead better than anyone in the chorus. And so we all have our job to do, and we're equally as important. And as I tell my singers, when the curtain goes open in a show or a competition, at that moment, I become the very least important person in the entire place. The audience will only see you. They'll only hear the music you're making. The audience is more important than me than I am. And all the audience sees of me is my butt and my bald spot. And the whole show is the chorus, the chorus, the chorus. They need to be the owners of the music, not the director. The director's primary job is to shepherd them into doing something that they could never believe they could do, and certainly something they couldn't do on their own. They'd have to have the people around them to do it. Another thing that we found out with the ambassadors, embrace the process. One of the things that I hate about Barbershop and love about Barbershop is competition. Art shouldn't be adjudicated, and it should not be a competition between different artists, because what my chorus or quartet does is very different from what other choruses and quartets do. And who's to say which is better? They're just a little different. I mean, maybe some have better skills in lots of areas, but I don't like it. And the other thing I don't like about competition is that too many quartets and choruses make that their raison d'etre. They make that their reason for being. That was me about 9 years into my directing, when I was told that if I ever wanted to win a contest, I needed to stop being so nice to the chorus. And so I started, they just said, the person that told me this said, the chorus hated me until we won international, and then I could do no wrong. And I was just young enough and inexperienced enough to believe that. And so I got impatient with the chorus. We weren't moving fast enough. We weren't scoring high enough. And I just lost my soul. And as a result, the chorus lost their soul, to the point that I ended up dropping out for a couple years. I still sang but didn't direct. After being away and thinking about it, I realized that all I can really be is me. I love the chorus. I love making artistic music. And if we never win a competition for that, that's okay with me. And I had to talk to the chorus about the same thing and just tell them, here's where I am. I just want us to be relevant and artistic and change people's lives with our music. And of course, sure enough, we started winning competition the moment we did all that stuff. But unlike many choruses, our chorus winning the competition, it didn't. You've seen choruses that win competition, and that's their only goal. And once they win it, all their members leave. Mission accomplished. That's never been the case with the Ambassadors of Harmony. Competition, we have a healthy relationship with competition. We know that it sharpens the steel. We know that it inspires us to do better. We know that it introduces us to new concepts, etc. But we've come in first and we've come in not first. And first is a lot more fun, but everybody's back the following week and we just, get ready for the show, which is another big part. So I'm talking too much about this, but I guess I feel like we put so much emphasis in competition that we forget our first love, the thing that brought us there, which is just making great music with great people. Here's another thing. The audience, here's a great one that David reminds me of all the time. New music is the engine that drives the chorus. The thing that inspires our chorus, and I think would inspire yours, is always having at least one new song in the hopper. And it's got to be good, nothing dumb, something that the guys can, and I always use guys rhetorically, so I apologize for that, but something that the people will enjoy learning and enjoy singing and will be proud of. You can't just keep the same old repertoire. Always new songs, turn things over, turn things over. We also don't do, at the same time, we don't do shows where we learn a whole bunch of songs to fit a show theme. We usually make the theme fit our music rather than the other way around. Because if you learn a whole bunch of songs, you can never really make any of them as good as you want them to be. You can never quite perfect them. Not to say that we'll ever be able to perfect them. The other thing is this. I was told in a choir, in an honors choir that I was in once, that as a young man, an audience doesn't come to a concert to hear good music. And I'll repeat that. No one comes to a concert to hear good music. They come to experience something. If I just wanted to hear good music, I could just listen to Spotify. You know what I mean? I've got lots of great, CDs and things, but I go to a concert for an experience. Now, the reason I bring that up is because that's the motto that drives the ambassadors as well. But what they don't know, I don't think, is that I feel the same way about my chorus members. The chorus members don't come to chorus rehearsal just to make good music. They come to experience something. And my job as a director is to provide experiences in music making. I don't want to yell at them. I don't want to disrespect them. We've had people in front who have done that, and we talk to them right away. Our chorus is not that kind of chorus. We're all trying. And I just feel like it's so important to give them an experience. So my preparation deals with making good music and thinking about interpreting the music and taking them on a journey with the music. Now, there's a lot involved in that I don't have time to go into, but I certainly will help expound on it if you'd like later. Also about culture, good coaches work wonders. Bring in coaches. We love coaches. Bring them in regularly. If their technique and advice work for the singers and me, then I'm going to make a concerted effort to perfect what they taught. As a person who coaches now and then, I'm going to admit something that's frustrating as a coach. I never would tell the chorus this, but it's frustrating. I go in and work hard with a chorus and give them a concept. Let's say singing high on the pitch, staying in tune. And we work really hard on it, and the chorus becomes excellent at it. Before I leave, we've really got it going on. They asked me to come back and coach them in 3 months, and it's the same chorus that I saw before I coached them the first time. If you're going to bring in a coach, then commit yourself to, you don't have to use everything a coach says, but you got to learn how to do what that coach does. And if you don't remember, then contact the coach and say, how did you do that? But if it worked for the chorus and everyone was excited about it, your job is to build it. Now, I know many of you aren't directors, but I think that this can apply to quartets as well. And then the next thing, I'm going to move on to singing. Singing, I think, especially in choruses, head voice and beauty trumps chord busting every time. Teach the singers how to sing beautifully. You can ring chords with beautiful voices, and you can ring chords with bright, awful, nasty voices. Both can ring chords, but one is a little more pleasant and has more potential for great music making. That goes for quartet singing as well. So if you're a chorus singer or a quartet singer, you can apply that to yourself as well. Also, I want to talk about important qualities of each voice part, at least in a choral setting. You've heard this kind of thing all the time. But maybe I'll put a slight different spin on it. The leads, obviously, they do lead the chorus. They need to sing always freely with a beautiful, heady, floaty voice, and they have to be very honest when they sing. It's a hard thing to be a lead singer because they have to be personally engaged and honest, but at the same time, they have to unify with the other leads. That's a hard skill. I'm going to get through the singing, and then I see questions coming up, so I'll try to answer them. Bass. Here's the main thing, and I think most of you probably, if you know me, you know I'm a bass. I started as a tenor, but then puberty hit and never again. But the thing that basses get in trouble with, and I'm talking about whether they're testosterone basses or estrogen basses, we tend to sing too much in the chest voice. We think that it sounds great in our head. First of all, we sound so powerful, and it sounds great in our head, but it does not sound great to other people. I love basses that sing with great beauty, and beauty again comes from incorporating that head mix into that voice. If I'm singing all chest voice, it never works. So one of the things I always tell our bass, it's kind of a joke, but kind of not, is that the basses must sing beautifully. And the quote I give them is, basses, sing like a singer, not like a bass. You want basses to sing like singers instead of what their concept might be of bass singing. And finally, one thing that really helps is voice placement on the risers. There's lots of ways to deal with that. In the ambassadors, most of our basses are centered in the center, but we have trickles of basses going on all the way to the ends of the risers. Our leads and baritones are completely mixed up on both sides, and because our tenor section's sort of small, we actually put them all together in one little spot that's next to the basses and between the baritones and leads on one side of the chorus. That's what we do. And then we have what we call the three voices. Three voices, if it were an orchestra, would be the brassy voices, the ones that have tons of resonance and forward placement. And then we have on the other end of the spectrum sort of flute-like voices. Eric Dalby, one of the great leads in vocal spectrum, he's more of a woodwind singer, whereas he sings with a baritone and a bass that are brass singers, and yet somehow it goes together. So we put the flutes and woodwinds on near the outside. We put the middle people, we can call them strings or whatever, in the middle, and the brassy one, in between those two, and the brassy voices in the middle. That helps everybody to be next to somebody that they resonate well with. And it allows them to be able to sing freely without having to feel like they have to oversing to be heard or undersing because they feel like they're sticking out. So that's that. Now, let me go to some of these questions. Oh, so many. That tells me how much I've been talking. Yeah. Oh, that's sweet. Gashouse Gang can't see a document. Oh, the link has that link come out? I put
I think
mine
we're
in the
okay with
chat at the
Jim, I think
beginning.
we're okay with the document. And note that the chat's been going all evening, so it's towards the bottom.
Yeah.
You pick up questions.
We've repeated it a
Okay,
couple
yeah,
of
you'll
times for
find
those
it.
joining afterwards.
Okay, yeah, it should be in the chat somewhere, a big long link. Okay, how many new songs do you study a year or a season? That's a good question. The truth is We turn around repertoire for every Christmas show we do, which is our biggest show. We always try to learn at least 3 or 4 new songs for the Christmas show. For repertoire songs, we probably are learning maybe 6 or 7 new songs. So I guess in a year's time, we might learn somewhere between 8 and 12 new songs a year. Um, what's the one ingredient for you that turns the average practice into an experience for your chorus? Oh my goodness, I'm going to get to that when I talk about musicality. So hold your horses on that one, and I will tell you what I think makes an experience. Is that John Beasley? Okay, I see you, John. I'll tell you in one sec. Please explain more about falsetto versus chord busting and what is honesty in a lead. Okay, honesty in the lead is going to go along with the experience thing. So if I can demonstrate, and you'll hear it well over line, if I'm singing bass, I'm going to back up a little because my voice is loud. That just sort of voice right out of your mouth. We call that a voice that's coming straight from your throat. And what we talk about with our chorus is that your voice, hopefully you can see me, should travel from your throat all the way from the back of your head over your bald spot on the top of the head and down to your voice that way. So I can find it with a beautiful ooh space. Ooh, ooh, ooh. If I tried to do that note in chest voice, ooh, I'd have something like that. Ooh, you're all muted. Try it. Just do in the key that you like. Just try a beautiful sort of heady ooh space that's kind of tall and lifted. Beautiful. Now, in that space, we call that, we've got a height there. A little bit of spread in the back of the neck also helps a little. And then if I'm in that space, then I can sing as forward as I want. There's no limit to how forward I can sing as long as the space doesn't drop. If you clap your hands, everybody, you can do this because you're muted as well. Put your hands sort of flat like this and clap. Good. Now make sort of arched hands and now clap. If you can get a clap out of it, it's a deeper, richer clap sound. And the same with your mouth. You need more resonant space. So head voice, if I'm doing bass, if I'm singing, I don't know, My Wild Irish Rose is a bass. My wild, that's the extreme of nasty. Now, if I went to the ooh, that's a very heady voice. If I talk in that voice, I can feel that. My wild. Now that's really heady. If I bring that forward without changing the space, my wild Irish rose, as opposed to my wah, that's all dropped. Now, here's a great trick to get it. Everybody, this takes 2 fingers, put them in front of your ears, and open and close your jaw until you feel that cave, the little cave that forms in front of your ears. Yeah? Everybody just find a song that you enjoy singing. We're all muted anyway. Now, put your hands like I have mine in a parachute on either side. This time, inhale into your hands, not as if you're inhaling through your mouth, but as if you're inhaling into your hands, and just sing My Wild Irish Rose or whatever you want to sing. Amazing Grace, whatever. Ready? Breathe into your hands. How many felt quite a bit more space in the sound when you did it? Could you maybe just raise your hand? That's what we go after, is that kind of space. And that's an exercise that we practice on every breath. The moment we breathe in our course, either at school, my school choir, or the ambassadors, I can hear it. You'll know because you'll hear this and the breath. When you hear that, stop, don't even continue to sing. You'll also hear one voice stick out too bright, and then stop and sing. And remind everybody here, if there is a director on this call, here's how I direct a breath. I never do that because people will breathe up. I always do this. That's the inhale. To remind people that the inhale is through that. That gets you to that sound. So that's the difference maker for me. And if we were all together, I could explain it even better. But that's the difference maker in how we sing in our chorus. No matter whether you're a tenor or a bass, we want to have that head voice experience. Tenors actually sing a little bit brighter. And speaking of baritone and tenor, here's what I want to tell you. Raise your hand if you're a baritone or tenor. Here's what we say in our chorus constantly. You are so much more important than even you think you are. The tenor and baritone needs to be present in the chorus. And they should not sing like baritones sing in a way that just they're hoping to blend. They should sing like leads. I truly believe that baritones should sing like leads. And I believe the tenors should sing like leads. I think all four parts should sing like leads. Baritones, your job is not to blend. As a matter of fact, I don't use the B word. I call that the B word. And we don't use it. I never use the B word because the moment you try to ask people to blend, all the character goes out of their voice. I want everybody's full voice. I want the richness, the depth, the brightness, the character of everyone's voice. The only trouble with that is if everybody does that, you really have a crappy chorus because it's totally not unified. So what's the answer? Not blending. No, keep all that stuff. The answer is in the listening. Do all those things and listen to everyone but yourself. It solves everything. Sing with all your colors and have big old Dumbo ears. That's the secret. That's the secret, frankly, to life, y'all. You want to know how to get along socially with people? You want the world to be a more friendly place? Use all the colors that you have. Don't squelch a one of them. And you have big ears. And listen to everyone else more than you listen to yourself. That to me is the secret to life and singing. Okay, here's how we bring experiences and how we get the leads to sing honestly. Now, no matter what your capacity is as a barbershopper, this applies to you, okay? You can put it in one simple statement. The why is more important than the what. Now, here's what I mean by that on one level, at least. So many directors will say to the chorus, or so many quartets will talk about interpreting their songs in this way. Okay, we're going to have a crescendo there. Let's everybody grow in volume there. Okay, now we need to speed this up. We got to speed this part up, and then we got to slow this down. And the director, or the arranger put this echo in here, so we've got to, and everything is paint by numbers. All the interpretive devices, all the things, your approach to even looking at the music and your approach even to learning music is all in your mechanical brain. And so this happens all the time because it's an easier way to do it for the person who's leading. I can so much more easily say to a singer in the chorus, okay, to all my chorus members, okay, everybody, so we're gonna, right here, we need to grow. We need to grow, grow, grow. And then right after the breath, come in super quiet. And then we'll just kind of sing quietly there. We'll stress this little word, bring out that syllable right there. And you just give them this laundry list of things for them to remember. Then we get angry when they don't remember it the following week. Well, of course they don't. They've had no personal connection to it. Try to avoid all of that stuff as much as you possibly can. The why is more important than the what. What I've just given you is an example of all the whats. Now, here's an example of a why. If we were going to sing, well, here's a song that's near and dear to my heart that some of you might know. Bright was the night. And if I were to say, Saw her standing there, moonbeams in her hair, starlight in her eyes so fair, sweet radiance all around her. Well, if I were to sing that, the first line is saw her standing there. Then I go to moonbeams in her hair. Everybody, you're muted. Say moonbeams in a way that makes you think of what the moonbeam looks like. Ready? And moonbeams. Starlight is different than moonbeam. It's brighter. Moon might be considered sort of this romantic, whereas stars have more glamour to them, more spectral. And so say starlight and star. Good. Now say moonlight the way that was. Now say starlight. Now say radiance. Radiance is an aura, it's a glow. Say radiance. And when you do that and then sing the song, it changes all the colors. Another song that I often use for this exercise that I think probably most barbershoppers know is Just the Way You Look Tonight. I'm going to change the words slightly. Someday, when I'm awfully low, when the world is cold, I will feel a glow just thinking of you, just the way you look tonight. Well, you try this sometime with the chorus. Someday, that's future. When I'm awfully low, and we'll say to the chorus, why did the lyricist say awfully? There's lots of adjectives to use when I'm terribly low, when I'm really low, when why awfully? And we think about that and we talk about that. Why low instead of sad? Just because it rhymes or it's more musical to sing? But low is different than sad. But then you say, when the world, so if you start with me, and I'm low. Why? Because the whole world is what? Cold. Now, if I say awfully low, and then I say cold, everybody say cold and use the ka of cold to make things sound cold. When the world is, just sing that line, when the world is cold, and think about cold when you say cold. And when the world is cold, yeah, that ka, when the world is cold, and all of a sudden your voice takes on a colder texture. When at the very next line, it's still future, but you say, I will feel a glow. Glow is different than cold. Say ga, the ga of glow, and the L of glow, as if it's radiant, like we've talked about before. Say glow and glow. Say cold, cold. Say glow, just thinking of. And who's this song to? You. And that's the first time in the song that we tell people that it's you that I'm singing about. It's all been about me and maybe the world. But on that word, we say you, just thinking of. And what's so interesting to me is that the of is here, way up high. That's the whole world. And it drops an octave when it says you. It grounds the relationship. It brings you close. Everybody sing, just sing, I will feel a glow, use the glow, make me feel the warmth, just thinking of. And when you get to you, intimacy. Ready? I will, and I will feel. I purposely didn't sing with you. How many of you, when you started going to the upper, got a little bit faster as you sang? Did you or did you not? How many of you when you went to the octave and said you, kind of slowed things down a little bit to get to the you? Did you a little? See, even without hearing you, I already know what you're going to do. And I didn't say to you, let's speed up there. Let's get slower here. Let's use this tone of voice there. We don't have to say that because now we know why we're doing it. And when people know why and they connect the why to the what, they'll remember it. Not only will they remember it, they'll personalize it. I really hate that I'm talking so much because there's so much I'd love to say to you, but I'm going to tell a super quick story and tell it as fast as I can. Our chorus did, if you may have remembered that our chorus one year did, I must have done something good from Sound of Music. It was one of my favorite ballads that we ever did. Perhaps I had a wicked childhood, perhaps I had a miserable youth, but somewhere in my wicked, miserable past, I must have had a moment of truth. For here you are, standing there, loving me, whether or not you should. So somewhere in my youth or childhood, I must have done something good. Now, Kevin Keller, who's a genius and also sings in our chorus, and we have an embarrassment of wealth in our chorus. He had the whole chorus do an exercise with this. He had us all divide into partners. One partner, I'm going to talk super fast. One partner told the other partner, let's say A told B, an experience where someone loved them when they didn't deserve to be loved. And then we asked them to sing, we asked it to switch. So the B tells A an experience of the same thing. Somebody loved me when I really didn't deserve to be loved at that moment. And then we would speak back to each other what the other one said to see what was important about that story to the listener. Well, here's what I want you to tell you. The reason I tell you, and it was very effective. And we all had our own story. I never imposed a story on the chorus. They knew a story about when someone loved them and they didn't deserve it. That's the theme of the whole song. Well, I got a young man who was in high school, just a senior, or maybe he just graduated. Here's the story he told me, and I'll tell it super quick. He said, so I've always been a good kid. My parents have always known I was a good kid. I obeyed the rules, etc. So my parents trusted me, and they left to go out of town, and I invited a friend over. I didn't tell them I was going to invite a friend over, but I did. Well, what I didn't know is that my friend invited more friends over, and all of a sudden there was a party at my house. And it got out of hand, and some people brought alcohol, and it was just really terrible. But the worst part was that my parents forgot something and came back home to get it and found the party. Everybody left the party. The dad said to the son, to the boy I was talking to, he said, we'll talk about this tomorrow. Just clean everything up. We'll talk about it tomorrow. So the next day came. My chorus member was scared to death about his dad, what was going to happen to him, what punishment would he receive, etc. And here's how the dad handled it. He walked up to his son and hugged him. And that was it. Because he knew that his son knew. He knew that his son knew. And all he had for his son was not a punishment, but just a hug, because he knew that his son screwed up, and he knew his son wasn't like that. And that was the dad. Well, imagine how I was when I directed that song and looked at his face, which I made sure to do during the contest set, because I knew exactly what story he was thinking of. I knew, and it meant everything to me. So that's what I'm talking about. In rehearsals, in musicality, go for the why. Even in the arrangement, why do they have an echo here? Just to fill the time, just to be a rhythmic propellant? No, there's an echo is for some reason. Know the reason. Okay, going into rehearsal. I'm not so worried. What time do I have to stop? 3 minutes or something?
Well, we're scheduled to go for another 3 minutes, but it's up to me. Take another. Yeah, let's do another.
Okay. I'll take a little more time, and you can leave if you want to.
Yeah.
Rehearsing. Here's for all of you chorus people out there and quartet people. Losing pitch ruins everything. Too many, and I mean by too many, almost all barbershop and other choruses flat when they sing. They don't think there's any harm in it, but there's tons of harm in it. It ruins everything. Learn to sing on top of the pitch. Okay, there's lots of ways to do that. which I'll be happy to share if you get in touch with me or whatever, but learn to sing on top of the pitch. That is number one for the ambassadors besides singing. Here's skills for all of you directors out there that really do matter. Learning how to conduct properly. It matters. Knowing about the vocal mechanism and how it works. It matters. Your singers' voices are in your hands. You could ruin them or you could make them better. There's very little in between. Knowing about chord structures and balancing voices, that helps with quartets and choruses. Having a good sense of rhythm helps with quartets and choruses. And directors, study the dang score. Get everything out there ready, and then leave yourself open to change it once you get in front of the chorus if they don't totally agree. Sometimes they may tell you that there's a better way. You'll find out when you try to direct them. So that's the whole thing right there. And also quality musical learning tracks. So from a chorus standpoint, those are things that I would totally recommend. I'll quickly run through chorus. A lot of those are the same. Here's quartet, culture. Family is more important than any quartet. My family is more important than any quartet. Always remember that singing in a quartet is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be fun. Keep having fun. Be open and honest about your goals. It's like a marriage. Be easy to live with, quartet members. You got 4 people. Be easy to live with. Give a little. Listen to lots of musical genres, not just barbershop. Listen to every kind of music you can think of. You'll find things that you'll use. And it's a team effort. Singing. Too many quartets try to pick music that's too hard for them. You can't just start with a championship quartet's literature. It's great literature. It's fun, but learn to sing first. All parts must sing melodically. You've heard me say that before. Vowels and resonance, they do matter, but they also can be more malleable in a quartet. Musicality, same thing. Always be honest. Don't copy what a champ quartet did. Find your own truth with a piece of music. Don't sing my part. Harmonize with the lead. Don't sing baritone. Don't sing bass. Don't sing tenor. Harmonize with the lead. That's your goal, not to sing your part, to harmonize with the lead. And along with that, as we always say, you should follow the lead. Don't follow the lead. Track with the lead. Don't follow the lead. Track with the lead and harmonize with the lead. Rehearsing. Quartets make good use of solo singing, duetting, and trioing. Crossroads spent more time doing those 3 things than we spent singing all 4 parts together. Listen to one guy sing, help him out. 2 guys, and that means any kind of duet. My favorite duet is a tenor baritone duet. That's a great duet. And bass tenor duet is a great duet. You don't always have to duet with the lead. Find good coaches that get you. Some don't. Learn your music as much as possible at home. And that's the thing with the chorus too. Ambassadors never learn music on the risers, ever. The expectation is to learn at home. It's frustrating for the people who can read music, and you still lose the people who can't. People have to learn at their own pace, therefore they have to do it at home. And finally, from performance, put together an entertaining and varied show package. And entertaining and varied. Not every song has to be all fireworks. Build in variety. You know, people love simple, heartfelt songs just as much as they love the big, the big circus songs. Find something simple. Don't be a baby, which we got from a beautiful Babs quartet. It's one of Gas House Gangs. We did that almost in every show. It's so simple. Anybody can sing it, but the audiences loved it. It caught them. And play to our unique strengths. Play to our unique strengths. If you have no one that's funny in the quartet, please, for God's sake, don't try to be funny. Just play to your strengths. Be interesting if you're not funny. You know what I mean? Let the music do your talking or whatever. Okay, that was so fast. I just rode through that. And I hope you guys got something out of it. I don't know if you did, but I hope you did.
Jim, that's absolutely awesome. You know, we as Dennis said, every word's a gem. So thank you for.
Oh, and I'm sorry I didn't leave more time to get to the questions, but
I think I figured that we need to get you back again so you can do exactly the same thing in reverse order. So that you can
Okay.
tell us about the quartets in more depth and go back. You know, that'd be
Well, and if somebody could copy these questions and send them to me,
yeah.
I'll write answers down and send them back and email them back to you. Maybe you can share them with people somehow.
Absolutely, we can try doing that. There were
Okay.
too many questions that came up that you haven't already answered. If I'm keeping an eye on that, an eye on it there. Just one came from a chap called Lenovo. Thanks, by learn to conduct properly. Do you mean in the classical sense, as in
Yes.
for down across, or perfect your barbershop conducting skills?
No, I would say perfect your conducting skills. Now, I tell my conducting students here at the university, there's no music in patterns. You don't have to conduct with patterns necessarily, but you have to know how to use your hands, where your placement is, how to bring people in, good way to release, things like that. And you learn that in classical conducting lessons, but there's a lot of videos online. Here's a good video to look at. This changed my life, and it's on YouTube. It's called What They See is What You Get. What they see is what you get. It was a video made in the 80s. And so it's, first of all, fun to watch because you can see 80s clothes, shoulder pads, and things like that. But it's a great video, and barbershop directors can learn so much from it. It talks about weighted beats. It talks about so many different things. Look at that video. It'll change your life. It changed mine.
Brilliant stuff. Jim, another quick question. How many weeks do chorus members get to study a song at home before you touch it in rehearsal?
So here's what we do. We give them an assignment, and we don't necessarily make them learn the whole song. We don't say, let's have this whole song in 3 weeks or 4 weeks. What we'll say is, by this time next week, let's have measure 48 through 78. So we'll have them just learn a certain number of measures in the song, and that gives them enough that they can kind of bite off and chew for the week. We often teach our music backwards. We start with the tag and work our way forwards. With one contest song, we literally didn't make, we cut up the learning track so that all the singers got was the back part that we wanted to learn first. They didn't even get to hear the beginning. Until they were great at the end, we gave them the next part in front of it. But so give them specific assignments that involve little chunks, not entire songs.
Wow. Jim, you've given us so much to think about, and thank you for sharing the document, which we can use as with the media as well. So I just like to, on behalf of everybody has joined us tonight, to say a big thank you for giving your time. You'll see the applause. You may not hear it, but it's there.
Well, I sure appreciate it. And also, I guess I should add, the Ambassadors of Harmony cannot wait until next year in May when we get to be there with you all. So
Awesome.
The ambassadors are just gearing up for it. Even now, we're talking about it all the time and how exciting that's going to be. So I hope you all will be there and join us when we're there. We would love to see all of you.
Wow, can't wait. Great. I'm going to wrap it up there. So thanks once again to Jim, and thanks for everybody for joining us. Join us again tomorrow night for more exciting presentations that have escaped me. I can't remember what's on tomorrow night, but you'll look at the schedule on the website, and yeah, Jim, you're welcome to come back as a guest. But
Thank you very
so much for
much.
your time.
And email me your questions. You can find me. Send me an email if you have questions that I didn't answer.
Thanks,
Thank
Jim.
you all.
And thanks everybody else.
Thank you,
Okay,
Jim.
we'll close it there.